Today, we're taking a road trip up to Henrietta, a small suburb of Rochester, New York. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. It's about an hour and a half trip, but will take mere seconds thanks to the magic of editing. I came up to the Rochester Institute of Technology today to meet with an engineering student to work on a writing implement for individuals with crippy hands. Yeah, a young man, Mikey Gambino from Chicago. I worked with him on another project this past summer, which I am regretting I did not document. I hope you enjoyed today's video, a little something different, a vlog instead of a documentary.
Hi, I'm Mikey Gambino. I'm a fourth year industrial design major at the Rochester Institute of Technology, and I'm working on a project here with Josh for an accessible implement for using a pen for quads. And previously I worked with Josh on a project regarding a kitchen knife and accessible kitchen tools for quads. And so we're here today just testing out some prototypes, some initial prototypes and mock-ups. We're trying things on, cutting them up, putting them back together and seeing what works. Sweet.
All right, so what do you got for me?
So, from the directions we talked about before, I, was trying to tackle the writing implement.
Yeah.
Because it's more hands-on stuff. Also, I did some exploration of the reaching and grasping, kind of picking stuff up, but that I only kind of did some preliminary sketches and a lot of prototypes. So, so I've kind of branched off into two main ideas. Something that's kind of what I call a computer mouse.
Yep.
So it would be more of like a resting and a push.
Sure.
And then one kind of more minimally wearable. Okay. And I was going to put in a similar attachment style. For now, they're just super glued on.
Yep.
But I was wondering actually before these, I was wondering if you could be able to show me what you were talking about in our previous conversations about kind of like
how you
normally do it.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Yeah, normally what I do is we'll just take, usually I'll take a little bit bigger pen, and actually the heavier the pen for me works best, so I can't really put any pressure down. So typically what I would do is if I'm going to sign my name, I could, well, it's not a good example, but typically this is how I would do it. I would hold two hands, and then I would write whatever I've got going on, and that's writing fast, and that's obviously not very legible. Just recently I tried to fill out a postal package with a marker like this, because I didn't have to press very hard. Well, my son redid it because it was easy. He could read it, but I didn't know if the machines at the post office would read the address, but yeah.
So for the right hand, you kind of have it.
Yeah, pretty much because I was righty in my prior life, if you will, and so. But I have to, in order to keep it in there, I use my left hand to brace against the pen, and then I can, and I can write relatively well. To be honest, it's not much different than what I used to write. My handwriting's always been atrocious. But yeah, so let's try out some of your units here.
Do you have? You can take a pick of whatever intrigues you first.
Okay.
This one technically doesn't write. This is an idea of if it was, instead of holding an existing pen, if it was like a whole unit.
Okay. Oh, I see. So there would be ink in there, and that would be a ballpoint.
Yeah.
I got you. So this, it's kind of a similar concept to what we talked about. See if I can get my hand in there. See what the best way. Okay. In this, I like the concept, but we'd have to either be custom, because my fingers, in order for me to hold this, we just have to, extend the pen down, which is probably not a big deal. You could probably slide.
I could.
Just slide it in there.
Just real quick.
Yeah. Maybe about a half inch or so, maybe right up to that. just another, if you move it just another quarter inch, let's have a look.
Yeah, totally.
Because the way my hand is, I kind of grasp that relatively normal. Good, now my fingers obviously, they come underneath. I just clicked that. I was going to push it against my vest, but didn't have to. So that's there. And I want to write. With some practice, I could probably get relatively good. So, yeah.
Is that your signature?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was before my injury. I was like, were you a doctor? No.
Yeah.
Doctor of wood, perhaps, but wood butcher. No, I'm just kidding. That's interesting. I like this concept.
How does it feel maybe if like, so you have the pointer over here.
Actually, the angle might change a little too. If we were to, if we were to angle that pen forward, I would be more on the, exactly, so, yes, exactly. Make it a sharper angle, or a steeper angle, I should say. And that would put the pen more on the ball point than on the edge of the ball. Because I see it skipping a little bit. I mean, that's part, I'm running on my fingers too, but but I think having that on there could also put a little more direct weight on it, you know, from the palm of my hand, and then I'd be able to hold the paper like this, you know, even if, you know, say I were somewhere else or whatever. Yeah.
This was one of the original ones,
Right.
and it was too small, but I was kind of messing around with it, just kind of resting like this. The only problem, you can't really see what you're doing, which is how it turned into that.
I got you.
But that, like the weight straight down.
Oh, this is something, because on this one I can just come around the pen a little bit like this.
Yeah, and just I was just thinking the weight of just your palm.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of, with this one, what I'm thinking, which, you know, is another reason I wanted to talk to you today, because, you know, I'm trying to incorporate, like we talked about with the kitchen knife, just instead of having to press just the weight. And you don't need to press that hard.
No, exactly. No, and this, I like the fact that this is, you know, vertical, because that does, it gets the weight right over the pen, essentially. If we could make like a modification, you know, like if we morph these two together and kind of brought in, you know, like here the angle is better of the pen, but I like the adjustability of this, you know, because then somebody else could use, you know, the same concept. You know, somebody else has a little different level of teen adhesives, like Chris. He has much stronger, you know, he can grab his wheels and pick things, you know, that kind of thing. So he might not even need something like this, but it could be something, you know. But again, like, something between these two might work really well for me.
Sweet. Can I snap a few pictures of just kind of how
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I think I'd do this. Sorry.
No, you are all good.
All over,
I find that interesting. I wasn't thinking about it before, having this to the side. You know, I wasn't.
Oh, maybe having the pen over on the side? Maybe?
Well, no, like the way you were holding it is interesting. Where
Which
you kind
way when I was like this?
like that. Like I didn't think of it like that before when I was making it, but then obviously, you know, everyone will do something up differently. So
absolutely.
I think doing that maybe more intentionally would be very interesting.
Yeah, because this gives me a bit more, even though this is loose, I have a little more control over the pen with it at that type of angle. So even if we were to make it so that there was a little depression, you know, on an angle or some sort, so as you're coming in, and, you know, we could even put that in my hand, and you could even use the marker to draw the angle, you know what I mean? That way, you know, you can get an idea, so if you're 3D print something else, it could, you know.
Oh, shoot, I should not have done the rubber on rubber.
Oh.
I have an idea. How does, so this was kind of straight on before. How, I mean, it doesn't have that divot either.
Right.
If it was more sideways, kind of like that, how would that feel?
Let's have a look.
I can get you a fresh sheet if you want.
Oh yeah, let's do that. I scribbled a bunch on here. So you're saying more on the side, like?
Well, I'm just seeing, like, if
if we had it more over here.
Yeah. What kind of?
Oh, now we might be onto something. Yeah, so the side approach, like, and it gets the pen right, you know, in my field of view, so
Mhm.
yeah, I can see exactly what we're writing. And so what else you got for me?
So then, kind of like with the knife project, I'm also like a wearable
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
unit. So these two are iterations. I did multiple iterations of the same initial.
Yeah.
It's flat plastic folded
Yeah.
up. These I didn't have pens on yet. I was
Right.
thinking
Oh, I see.
something like this. The pen would be right here. Or
Just
like
a
this, which
variation of
if
that, yeah.
I mean I can super glue a pen on here in 2 seconds. We can
Sure.
try it.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah,
All right, so
slide-
something like this
slide into there.
would be, now this could give me more control just because my hand is attached to it.
Mhm.
In this case, we'd either have to, you know, extend the pen and, you know, just because I've got my hand is in the way underneath.
Mhm.
I know we can't adjust this one.
I mean, I
Right, you can tear
could.
it off and, yeah. Is that one of these similar issue? 'Cause I can
With
see,
that angle, yeah.
yeah.
Been playing around with.
Well, let me see the
Fingers
yellow
a lot.
one there and see if that's something we can slide my fingers into.
I'm gonna really quickly run,
Yeah.
grab some super glue, throw it on there,
Yeah.
and
Works for me.
stand there.
I can write, this was, one, it was a little difficult to get on,
Mhm.
just with the, but I was able to do it, obviously.
Yeah.
And I can get the pen, to write, it's not, you know, it may not just be as, because this is a little different technique.
Yeah.
What I'm having to do, just in this angle and configuration, I'm having to lift my elbow up.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of would make it a weird writing kind of deal. If we were able to, you know, maybe position this a little differently,
Mhm.
so that, or make more vertical, where I could put a little more direct, because even though it seems like intuitive that the weight would be going on, it's not as I curl it in.
Would resting like the butt of your hand be better?
See, I think maybe, yeah, see if we could get that, you know, scooted down,
Mhm.
an inch and a quarter, well, whatever it would take, just so that I could get the pen on there without having to lift that up.
Mhm.
That would-
Oops, sorry. There.
No apologies, man. Okay,
So like it's a good length. Maybe like there. See that angle could be improved.
yeah, like
right
if we
there.
brought that down a little bit, just, just to make sure there was weight on it. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
bring that right down to the paper.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you were
I can
able to-
grab a file and we can
All right,
do
yeah.
that real
fine
quick.
tune it? Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's give that a whirl. Let's
Alrighty.
give that a whirl.
It's a better angle, excuse me, better length, like being more down, I can
Mhm.
get a little pressure on it. But if we could do the same thing, just, actually just stand that angle up a little bit more this way. You know what I mean? So if the pen were like this,
Yeah.
that would give me just a little better angle if we could, if we could open that up so it,
How about something like
all
that?
right, let's do this one.
Talk about rapid prototyping.
Oh my gosh, right for our eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this one, not having this
Not
little
having the
deal,
finger.
the finger support, yeah.
So that's another combination of marrying two
exactly,
prototypes.
yeah. Something like this, actually, your idea here of making a pen like this, like a mouse pen, if you will.
That's what I've been calling it. Everyone in the studio, you know, we're all working and everyone's like, Mikey, what you working on? A computer mouse? And I'm like, not quite, but
Something similar. No, this actually, I can just put my hand on, and like, this is actually a pretty good idea. Because I can put my hand on this and
just rest it.
just rest it. You know,
I think the size,
and I can pick it up and control it relatively well. Maybe just a hair bigger or wider, I would say. Not really that much taller, just wider.
I also dug up some other forms I was playing with.
Now here.
This.
Mikey and I spent almost an hour experimenting with different prototypes and even spent some time modifying those prototypes to see if we could come up with better ideas. We even tried using one of the cutoffs of foam from one of the prototypes. Of all the options we tried out today, I think I liked the mouse type implement where I could rest my hand on the table, keeping the pen more vertical, which helped keep pressure on the paper. One of the biggest issues I have is being able to press hard enough when writing. Another issue is the paper moving around underneath the pen as I try to write. Being able to use the pen with one hand and hold the paper with the other would be ideal. If the process goes the same as the knife project we worked on together, we will meet again with more refined prototypes for another testing session. Overall, this has been a great experience working with an aspiring young engineer. I'm interested to see what the next step of prototypes have to offer.